Hello, my name's Niranjan, the host of Master of Your Crafts podcast. Learning from leaders who are continuously inspired, passionate, and driven to align with their soul purpose, sharing their gifts to bring healing to others. The music is composed by Rebecca Everett. Today is episode number 97, and I'll be talking to Christine Malik, a women's confidence coach, speaker, international advocate for women against domestic abuse and violence, an author, a podcast guest, and the founder of the SASSI Academy alumni and graduate in Tennessee. Her unique approach brings out the strength and the light that shines in each woman, especially to those who have survived abuse. She believes once you're out of a situation, there's an even bigger challenge for women to face: who I am. Her SASSI program is designed to help women find answers and to achieve their goals and objectives of discovering their true, authentic, SASSI self. Hello and welcome to Christine. How are you, Christine?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you today?
I am wonderful. I am curious to get deeper into this conversation and learn more about Christine, especially as you've labeled yourself as a SASSI coach, which I love the title and I think it'll resonate with many people. However, a bigger question is, what is it you believe about yourself, and do you feel it defines who you are?
What I believe about myself is that I was given a purpose to spread love, joy, and to help women of abuse however I possibly can. And that's where the SASSI comes
I got it. Mhm.
Do I live that every day? I try to. I try and love everybody I come into contact with. I try and heal everybody I come into contact with. I try and spread peace, love, joy. SASSI is an acronym,
Mhm.
and it stands for strong, assertive, smart, sexy, and independent.
Nice.
And I believe that every woman, I know I have it, I believe every woman has that essence
Mhm.
deep inside. And for me, mine was almost extinguished, almost put out. And it was a long, hard road. And I had a lot of help and a lot of spiritual help along the way to reignite my SASSI and to bring that back out again and to be the woman that I am today. I tell my clients that SASSI is all caps. It's capital
Mhm.
S, capital A. Okay. We don't reach that every day, including me. I'm not perfect. Some days I could have a strong SAS, and then the other days I don't feel so sexy and independent, but it's still there.
Uh-huh.
Um, that's okay. That's okay. We learn and we grow and we handle those challenges as they come about every day.
That's beautiful. And I love how you've
Oh,
emphasized the component of it being capital or smaller case, because life happens. Those situations really show up where sometimes we're all ready to go, and other days we're just a little bit sheepish, a little bit reserved, a little quieter in that space. So
yes.
I love how you've defined that in those components. So nice.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, that's because I live it. Because not every day is perfect. I mean, if it were, we wouldn't be here. We'd be, happy and frolicking in meadows,
Yes.
and that's not life. We
Yes.
have to accept those challenges, and it's how we deal with those challenges that come about throughout the day. It's how we deal with ourselves when we look in the mirror every day. It's how we deal
Absolutely.
with others.
Hmm. And those are the bigger components of life, right? Those are the bigger parts of why we are here. Granted, we call them challenges, but they're really growth opportunities, and they're an opportunity and a gift for us to ruffle out and let go of the pieces of us that we don't really need or that are here to teach us something, because I'm a firm believer everything that presents to us in life, be it a relationship, a conversation, a something you heard on the news, or whatever's going globally, is here to enhance our being.
And I believe that. I I look at it as I say the word challenge, but you're right. It's a stepping stone. It's a small hurdle. And yes, we're we are supposed to learn from that
Yes,
and grow from that to be the person that we have that purpose for.
yes, absolutely.
They're I say challenges, but they're there for us to learn. How can I do better? What can I learn from this experience? I'm a big firm believer in knowledge. The more I can gain and the more I can learn, that is the more that I can then give out to everybody else out there. And that's how I look at anything that happens in my life. That before wasn't like that, but that's how I am now. I
Mm-hmm.
enjoy that. I enjoy learning. Take it
Mm-hmm.
one day at a time. You don't let the little things and all that stuff is little things. They're really not that huge. They're all really little. It's our perception. How do we handle it? How do we deal with it? How do we look at it?
Absolutely. So, what do you believe is your calling, or perhaps one of the callings that you have in this life?
To try and heal, or at least let women of abuse out there know that they are not alone, that they have somebody in their corner, that till they can find their sassy and their voice, that I am it, along with many other women out there that are doing it. But that is my calling, to heal the world one woman of abuse at a time.
That's quite a profound statement, Christine.
Yes, and it even goes further than that, because not only do I want to help all those women, but the next step then is to help them teach their children, because
Mm.
that's the only way we're going to stop this atrocity, is for moms and future moms to teach boys and girls what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And that is how we stop abuse. There's too much of it that goes on in this world, and there's not enough light being shown on this topic.
Mhm.
And that is the essence of what I do, is to shine that light on abuse and domestic violence, to say
Yep.
enough is enough. We can do better as a society, and as humans we
Mhm.
can do better.
Right. Absolutely. But even at that, what we just talked about, there's a reason why everything shows up in the first place. And by no means am I advocating and saying that a woman in abuse, if relationships, or even a man at that in that factor too, is supposed to be there. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that to be able to look at the silver lining as to why that has come about in your own personal growth, not the circumstances so you succumb to them and become the victim of it, but rather what is the deeper lesson? What is the deeper meaning behind that? So everything does
I,
happen for a reason, though, Christine.
I agree. I agree. And it still does. And I believe that sometimes we don't know what that answer is just yet. Um, I was asked once if I would take back any of the abuse that I went through. And I said vehemently, hell no,
Mm-hmm.
because I wouldn't be the woman that I am today if I did not go through all the things that I had gone through. I would not be the advocate that I am today if I didn't go through all that. I would not learn all the lessons on how to have a healthy relationship if I didn't see what an unhealthy relationship was like. I look at all that, the 7 years, and and a little bit after that, and all the childhood trauma that I went through as a learning curve, as a learning experience.
Yeah.
Be able to let other women know that, and you just touched on it, that they did go through that for a reason. Find that reason, find your purpose. Every woman out there has a purpose. So what is it? Is it to give you the strength to take on a new challenge, a new job, a new relationship, a new hobby? You know, if she always wanted to be a painter and was put down for it, well, now she can find that within herself, to find that essence, to find that sassy inside. That's why she had to endure those atrocities, to be able to say, this is the woman I am today. I'm not that woman anymore. And I can say this from my own perspective. I am not that woman that I was. I am so completely changed from that woman. As much as I was a sassy woman before that relationship, and then I lost it, the sassy that I am today is nowhere near the sassy that I was before. It's a different sassy. It's a different capital letters on a
That's
daily
right.
basis.
That's right.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's what I want women to be able to see what I saw, and to experience what I experienced. That we don't have to be stuck in that mindset or that physical location or all those things that were thrown at us by the abuser, all those negatives, that we can take that and turn it into a positive. And that's what I like to do. Take those negatives, turn it into a positive. So find who you are, find who you're supposed to be, find that essence, find that sassy, and live the true life you, we're all put on this earth for a reason. So
Mhm.
let's find that true purpose and live it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's a greater reason why we're here. And it's beyond
Yes.
the evolution of our soul and having the third dimensional life that we have children, relationships, money, and laughter, joy, and all that. There's something deeper reason
Yes.
why we're here, but we can talk about that later if we have more time. But my bigger question to you is, been through what you have, what do you believe are some of the attributes that you have learned and that you have garnered and maybe finessed a little more in your phase of life right now, having witnessed what you have that connects you with your purpose?
The biggest thing that just came to mind, and there's a lot. There's a lot of things that I have learned, especially in this last year alone. The biggest lesson that I learned, and it's the hardest one, is, and I say it this way, that there's three words in the English language that are the hardest to say, that come from an extremely weak, surrendering moment, but make you the strongest person in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And they are, I need help.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot do this alone.
Mm-hmm.
We should not do this alone. No matter what anybody is facing, no matter what challenges I face on a daily basis, if I can say, I need help, it puts me in a stronger mindset, that I can say, that's okay to need help. There is help out there, no matter what, whether I'm struggling with suicidal thoughts, no matter whether I'm struggling in a relationship or anything in my business, or struggling with a client that I think I don't know how to help. And I go, I need help. I need to help her. So where do I go for help? And I have coaches that I go to. I have friends that I talk to. And that was a huge, hard, long lesson that I had to learn, because for so many years he had isolated me from family, friends, that I didn't know who to reach out to. I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know that there was, and I was 40 some years old. You'd think I would know better, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't know that I could, walk into a church and ask for help to a priest or a pastor or whatever denomination it was, to walk into a police department, to walk into a hospital and say, I need help, and not be judged for asking for that.
Mm-hmm.
That was hard. And even as of I think it was like 2 months ago. I laid in bed and I cried to my angels and Archangel Michael, and I said, I'm asking for help.
Mhm.
Help me understand what is going on and help me. And they said, you're asking the wrong person. And I was like, okay. So, when I thought the thought through, so I'm not supposed to ask my angels for help. And they're like, no, that is not what I needed to do was reach out to all my friends and family and say, I need help. And it wasn't suicidal thoughts or anything like that. It was other
Mhm.
issues that I was dealing with. But when I did that, it was as if the angels had blew their trumpets, because so many abundances came into my life that I'm like, whoa, this is what asking for help really means.
Mhm.
So instead of asking them for help, and we know that as spiritual healers and in this realm, that we do talk to our angels, and they are there for us, and we are supposed to ask them for help. But they're there to help guide us also when we need it. And that was the lesson I needed to learn, that I don't go to them always for help, that I go to friends and family and say, I need help. And it made me such a humbled. I thought I was humbled before, but that was such a humbling experience to be able to say, wow, that at my weakest moment, I became such a strong woman, and it felt beautiful. It felt divine to
Mhm.
be able to say out loud, no matter who heard it, to let friends and family know that I was suffering in this particular way, and that I could say I need help. And they were there just like that. They were like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. This is what's and I was like, and then all of a sudden, before I knew it, like I said, all these abundances came in, and it was like, oh, this is pretty awesome. And that is why I say now to ask for help. As much as it's going to hurt, and that pride and ego,
Mhm.
that's third dimension that we don't want anymore. Get rid of it. That part of the spirit, we don't need that anymore. Ask for help. Humble yourself, because that help will come in. It'll make you a bigger, stronger, dare I say, sassier person.
Mhm. Yes, yes. It's a very vulnerable experience wanting to go out there and ask for help or come to the determination that you need help. Because I think that is often the biggest realization that you can't fix this alone. And there is an external source that is needed at this moment of time, be it the angelic realm or be it the physical realm. And I'm just going to give a different perspective on what you've just shared. So while individuals may reach out to their guides and their angels, the unseen world, the perspective that is often given is we give off the challenge to them to fix it, if you will, rather than saying, guide me to the right individuals on this physical plane that can help me. So, just as we talked about when we find ourselves, when one may find themselves in an abusive relationship, looking at the perspective of how that came about and how can I find the good in this. So, it's a different perspective, as is when you call out for help. It's a different perspective. Yes, I'm going to ask from above, outside of me, but it's a different perspective coming in from the people in my network.
Absolutely. You hit it. You hit the nail on the head. Yes, yes. And that's what we have to do as humans, and to look at things on a different angle, a
Mm-hmm.
different perspective, a different I one of the things that was showing up for me was a hawk. Every time I went outside, and he
Mm-hmm.
actually sat on a neighbor's car and just sat there. And hawks don't normally just sit there.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to a spiritual friend of mine and I said, okay, what is the meaning of hawks? And she had looked it up for me, and she said, to look above.
Yes.
to look at your situation from above. And that's what, again, so that's what my source, my angels were telling me by sending me that hawk. I then reached out to a friend, and then I was able to look at my situation from above, from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And it's powerful when we are open to see these signs and see these messages of, be it the synchronicities of life, the hawk, the thought of reaching out to a friend or a colleague or a partner and having a very vulnerable or different type of conversation that you may have had in the past, I feel is truly interesting and, I believe, divinely led. I'm not talking about God in terms of a religion. I'm talking about a consciousness that is out there, if you will, that goes beyond the physical realms, that is leading us and guiding us into something much more peaceful and joyful if we choose to see it.
Yes, you're right. You're right. And that's that is the first step to recognize that there is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And as a woman of abuse, I did not see it right away
Mm-hmm.
because it doesn't happen. Physical abuse, you do not go into a relationship and immediately, although there are those situations out there where it immediately starts physical. It starts out subtle, and you get used to and acceptable to some of those subtle changes that happen. And before
Yep.
you know it, 2, 3, 4 years later, you're now in a physically abusive situation. Had I taken that step back and looked at things from a different perspective, I probably did, but push that thought down. He's
Mm-hmm.
my husband. I love him. We're in things together through thick and thin. I hear all the time, but we have children together. I didn't in this particular marriage, but that's a concern for moms that are
Mm-hmm.
in an abusive situation. But had I accepted and then taken a step back, I probably would not have stayed in that relationship near as long. But the flip side of that is I wouldn't have gone through all the physical abuse. I probably wouldn't be here today
Yeah.
because that wouldn't be my path of what I'm supposed to do, what my purpose in life is. It would have been completely off in a different direction. I like where I'm at today. I like where I'm at.
I'm glad you're wearing the sassy well today.
Thank you. I think I got maybe four of the capital letters.
I think you might have a few more of those.
Thank you.
I know you had talked about empowering women and giving individuals and women who have been in abusive relationships an opportunity to not feel like they're alone and that they have support, they have somebody standing by them, an advocate. Are there any additional intentions that you are harnessing with your craft, not only for others, but also for yourself?
I want to heal the world from this. I want to heal women. I I want I want women to know the red flags. I want them to learn those red flags. I want them to be able to find their sassy and stand their ground. And I, we talk about it, and I hear it on social media all the time about boundaries. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
we set boundaries, but we don't keep them. We adjust. Okay, well, I'll let this one go a little bit, or I'll bring it back down here. I'll bring it back up here. That is hard. We have to set boundaries, and I want women to understand that if you set a boundary, stick with it. If it's what you believe in your heart, in your soul, in your mind, in your body, keep that boundary because that is your intuition, that is your essence, that is your sassy, not the brain.
Yes.
That is your feelings and your heart and your center of your being telling you something's wrong. Set that boundary, stick with it. As humans, we want interaction, we want to have a relationship, and we settle.
Mhm.
because we want that that closeness, that
Yes.
conversation. Don't settle because the right guy really is out there. The right woman really is out there. Don't settle. I believe that the universe does have somebody for us when we are supposed to meet them. I'm
Mhm.
57 years old and I'm still single. I'm
Mhm.
okay with that. You know, the right guy is out there. I don't push it. I don't look for it. When the universe is ready, she will bring that person to me. So
Yes.
yeah, I mean, my mission is it is a mission. It is a passion of mine. It's a huge passion to help women, to help them teach their children, to speak all over the world and have that voice for women who haven't found theirs yet all over the world. I want to spread this message as far and wide as I possibly can in whatever time I have left.
What does that look like for Christine? Once you've seen the ripple effect of all of what you've just said come into fruition, what's going to happen to Christine at that moment?
I don't know. I never really thought about it. I don't know. Um, Joy, happiness, um, celebration.
Mhm.
I will feel humbled in knowing that I have helped as many women as possible and men. I'm not exclusive. Um, I don't know. I don't know because there's always somebody that still needs help somewhere, and I will always try to find that person.
But there's always somebody that you've already helped who are on
Yes.
their way into a more empowered, sassy kind of life. So celebrate
that
those.
that's funny that you say that because in my signature program is the 7 steps to sassy. The first step is to surrender. The seventh step is teach the next person because I can't be everywhere at once. So as I help that this woman and then that woman, go out and you help a friend and you help a friend, you help a friend, however it is to give forward
Mhm.
what you learned and how you healed. That will just make me so ecstatic. I probably won't live long enough. I hope that's my legacy is that what I'm doing lives on longer than I
I think you might be surprised, Christine,
do.
the influence and the impact that you are already having on these women in the coaching that you do and all that you do, in not only just the intention of putting it out there, is probably having a huge influence on lots of women and perhaps even men. Because one thing that I have learned, having been in spaces where women have been abused, shelters, organizations, and so forth, just as much as women are hurting, men are hurting equally the same. I'm not justifying again any acts of it, but recognizing and witnessing the power of healing is needed for both individuals involved.
Yes. Yes.
So the
Yes.
advocacy, the not being alone, the support and the tools and the guides are equally needed for men too, because they are hurting too.
It's a different type of abuse that they go through and they're more oblivious to it because they're taught to be strong and all those things that our grandfathers and great grandfathers because of what they went through in that era, but that's not the time we're in anymore. And men are allowed to have feelings. Men are allowed to to be strong and sassy in their way and
Mm-hmm.
their right. Um, yeah, I agree with you 100%, honey. I'm not discriminating
Yeah.
because the statistic here in the States is that 1 in 7 men will experience some form of abuse in their lifetime.
Mm.
The statistic for women here in the States is 1 in 4.
Mm-hmm.
That's unacceptable in my world. So that's what I want to change. I want those numbers to change. And over in the UK, it's worse. It's worse.
Mm-hmm.
Australia, some of the I have a friend in Trinidad that their culture is geared towards men teaching their sons how to treat women, and it is not favorable.
Mm-hmm.
That has got to stop. That and if we can reach those, maybe not the men, but if we can reach the boys, if we can reach the women to teach their sons the proper way of being a man,
Mm-hmm.
then we're doing okay. And if we,
Mm-hmm.
you're right. And if one woman can help one son, then he'll be able to help his friends as he gets older and as he learns, and he can change the world too. Yes, that is part of my mission, my purpose, my why.
I love that. The power of, dare I say, intergenerational trauma.
Yes.
For everybody listening, whether you share it or not, each of you have a responsibility to stop that intergenerational trauma now. It's not a choice, it's a responsibility. And only few can actually take that feat. But the quest is there.
Yes. We have the knowledge, we have the tools, we have the know-how, we have the will to do it.
Some do and
right.
some don't. It's a courageous journey, and I honor you for the journey that you have been on, and especially being in a place of witnessing that all over again with all these women that you are supporting, from an advocate level to locking arms with them and handing them a tissue when they cry or whatever that looks like. I'm grateful for you doing your part in this world. So thank you so much, Christine, for sharing your story, for sharing your journey and everything that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
I'm Naranjan, and you've been listening to Master of Your Crafts podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and review, and join me next week for another episode. Thank you for listening.